we have an urban farmer by name Crystal who has such a beautiful kitchen garden, and actually this is more than enough for her household consumption. So maybe she will be telling us if she hopes to go to the market after the crops are ready. Crystal, thank you so much for having us today.
You're welcome.
Yes. So we want to know who Crystal is.
Crystal is just a city girl. I have a regular 9-to-5 job. I'm not a farmer and I did not grow up in a farming background. So this is fairly new to me and I'm just taking it a day at a time.
How did you discover about having a multi-story garden, or rather, what informed your decision to have a kitchen garden?
First, I start giving all praise and glory to Tatanzambe Mpungu Tulendo. He's the King of Heaven, and he gave me this revelation. So once I got that revelation, I started to do some research on vertical farms and other farming systems. So when I saw an article by, I think it was in The Nation, on a gentleman called Mr. Gitao, who was a former electrician and had this idea of how to revolutionize farming. So his phone number was on that article. I gave him a call. He came to the site. We discussed at length of what we could do. I told him the idea I had, and that's how this came to be.
Was it hard to get started?
It was not difficult in the sense of, because I was not the one doing it. Yeah, but having the professionals on board really helped. So having Mr. Gitao and his experience and then explaining to me everything, he was able to answer every question I had. That made the process much easier. Yeah, so I think if I had to do this on my own, I would have stopped after 2. Yeah.
So what brought about the need for you to grow your own food?
Just wanting to know where your food is from, to eat more natural, more organic food. You know, as the world is changing, a lot of farms are now commercial. So you really can't trace where you're getting your foodstuffs from. And also, I have a very big interest in organic food and health. So I knew this kind of farming would contribute to the health not only of me and of my family and of those who are around. And also it's very beautiful.
Would you define yourself as an organic farmer?
Yes, I would, because for this setup, we've not used any synthetic pesticides. And again, I went to a professional who then came on the site and was able to advise on what organic pesticides to use, what organic fertilizers to use. We were even able to install a warm bin and a biogas, which produce output manure, which you then use again in the farm. Yes.
So is it something you would encourage more urban dwellers to implement?
Yes, it's something I would definitely encourage because aside from it being beautiful and you knowing where your food is from, it also provides you some cushioning. Yes, in times of, in challenging times, maybe in a supply chain breakdown, or you just, you know, you might not have extra in your pocket to buy something.
So you'll be taking us around the farm, but before we do that, can you mention the variety of vegetables and why those particular variety?
Okay, so in this farm we have spinach, we have the sukuma wiki, we also recently added some duma, some guashe, cabbages, carrots, and I was just trying to choose things that I consume regularly and also would do well in this environment because it's a bit cold here. This is some spring onion. I think the best part for me is that for the next 6 months, I don't need to worry because once we harvest, it just regrows. And after that, maybe then we will do another replanting. And also these structures can go for over 10 years. So that's really an added benefit, yes.
Okay, so really we are talking about space utilization, and from what we've learned is that just a single multi-story garden like this can hold up to 200 of spring onions. And if you consider, if you are planting this the normal way, probably only this would have occupied the entire of this space. So Crystal, maybe you can take us to the next zone. We see what you have.
So here we have some guashe. And we're using a mesh bag. Again, this is another space-saving system. I think there are about six plants here. However, you know, they are bulb plants. So under, you could have in one plant maybe 4 or 5 bulbs growing. Yes.
How much long, I mean, how long will it take for them to be ready?
So this will take about 3 months to be ready. And then from there, we'll be harvesting maybe, is it monthly? Yeah, we'll be harvesting monthly. Yeah, so here we have the terere. Yeah, so terere, when you're harvesting, you harvest it when it's young. We don't let the seeds sprout out. Yeah, and it's doing quite well. It's quite soft and tasty.
So we get a lot of waste from our household activities, like on a daily basis, talk of peelings, talk of leftovers, and Crystal has found a way to convert all of that into gas. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
So here we have a small biogas unit. So initially, when we set it up, we filled it full of cow dung, and it took about a month and a half for it to mature and start producing gas. So actually, about a day ago, I used the gas for the first time. It produced a good flame. So for this size unit, it will give you about 2 hours of gas a day. But the real, benefit for us is the bioslurry that it produces. So there's a fluid it produces every time you feed the biogas. So we feed the biogas here with the waste from the garden and also waste from the house. So it can take cooked food, bits of fresh fruit that you've cut up. The only thing that can't go in here is anything acidic like pineapples, lemons, because it will destroy the organic environment inside. Yeah, so this has been such a benefit because the bioslurry that comes out from the biogas, it also has pesticidal benefits to the garden because it increases the good organisms in the garden. It kind of works like your gut. You're increasing the good organism and then you reduce the bad organisms. Yeah, so we get some 2 hours of gas a day and manure. We don't have to go buy manure.
Is this something that you will encourage more people to get involved in, especially when you're talking about even taking care of the environment? Because if you can bring all the waste here, then...
Yes, I think it's something people could consider. Of course, one key point to consider is space where you put the unit. It needs to be in an area where there's enough sunshine, and you need to have the materials to feed it. Yes, because it will need, I think it's about 5 kilos of waste a day. And when you cut up the dry waste, then you mix it with 2 parts of water. So you need to consider all the options, but definitely I would encourage it, especially if you have a farm, because you have your own manure and at the same time a bit of gas to cook your food.
Is it affordable in maybe?
Yeah, it is affordable. Yes, for example, the company that did this installation has got payment options and also different sized units, and then they can advise.
You mentioned earlier that the farm is 100% organic, and one of the aspects in organic farming is by using compost. And Mike here is practicing vermiculture, which is the production of worms, which are used to decompose waste material. Mike, tell us more about vermiculture and what it is that you're doing with this.
So vermiculture is the use of green waste and manure to create organic fertilizers, and it's very rich. It has all the NPKs and micronutrients like manganese, magnesium, which are very good for the plants and increase the plant size by 35%. Yeah.
Do you produce the worms first?
First you introduce the worms in the manure, and then every week you add green waste and water up to 2 liters. Yeah.
How long does it take?
It takes about 3 months for you to get your solid fertilizer, but it takes every week you can be collecting the liquid fertilizer. Yes, which is diluted in 8 liters of water. So for instance, if you're collecting 2 liters a week, you can be able to get 16 liters of good fertilizer.
Okay, we normally have a program like when plants are planted, they have a different fertilizer. When they are growing, when they are fruiting, they have a different fertilizer. When you're harvesting, is this one compounded all in one?
Yes. This one you can use it at any time, from the start to the end, because it has different nutrients that will help at each juncture. And also it introduces bacterodecomposers, which help break down the nutrients that are already in the soil, making them more accessible to the plants. Yes. Right, so after diluting, you can actually use it directly on the plants. You can either spray it as a foliar feed, or you can just drench the soil, like this.
So how often do you apply that?
The application for this can be done every week, twice a week.
So urban farming is all about space utilization, and reports have it that land for agriculture has gone really minimal because of urbanization and other developments. But what is beautiful about this multi-story garden is that one like this can hold up to 120 plants, and you can have a variety of them. It doesn't have to be from the same family, meaning like if you have 10 of these, that is equivalent to having an eighth of an acre. So it's the best, it's really good when it comes to getting the most out of the small spaces that is left for agriculture.
What we do is we maximize on space, and with urban farming, we work with your space. Either it's a balcony, a backyard, rooftop, any space that you have. You can also use your wall to maximize. So what we are doing is we want to have a food and nutrition society whereby you grow your own food, you eat healthy, and also if you have surplus, you can sell to get something in your pocket. For example, here we have a multi-story garden, and with a multi-story garden, what we do here maximizing on space. Another way, we call it the Wonder Multi-Story Garden, ama unaweza ita tu shamba ya gorofa. Because the way we have designed it, it's ni kama shamba tu ya gorofa. The way you build maybe an apartment, the same way we are doing in farming, whereby with a space of 4.5 feet, which is now the base diameter of our Wonder Multi-Story Garden. If you grow the crops the normal way, the maximum you can do on the space is 16 plants. But with a multi-story garden, you are able to do up to 120 plants from the same space. Hiyo ni kumaanisha we are maximizing that space and multiplying it by 10 times. So, for example, if you want to do it as a kitchen garden, when you have maybe the maximum space you would require to have one garden is 6.5 feet for you to have one garden, whereby we are using the 4.5 feet to set up the garden, and also we are going to use to give you a space whereby you can walk around your garden. If you want to do it commercially, if you have a 50 by 100 plot, you can do 100 gardens, 100 to 120 gardens on the 50 by 100, which is an eighth, and multiplying an eighth by 10 times, which we are doing by using the multi-story garden, production-wise is going to be same as having 1.5 acres. From the 50 by 100 plot, production-wise is going to be equal to having 1.5 acres. The benefits of the Wonder Multi-Story Garden is that it conserves water. As you can see, the vegetables have grown big, forming a canopy, reducing the rate of evaporation. So we are conserving our water by reducing the rate of evaporation. Also, weeds are very minimal because the weeds won't grow well under the shade of these vegetables. Yes. So also the other advantage is that we use very minimal manure, where we normally scoop on the terraces. After setting up the garden, we scoop 3 inches on the terraces all around, mixing the soil with manure in the ratio of 1:1, and then backfilling the mixture of goat manure and soil on the terraces. So we only need 2 buckets for you to kujaza garden moja. Yeah. So there are so many benefits but the biggest benefit is that you are eating what you know imegrowiwa aje. And that's why we are asking you, why buy what you can grow? Yet you have a small space, you have a balcony, you have your wall, you can maximize it and eat from it. You can have either the vegetables, you can do strawberries. For fruits, you can do strawberries, you can have your herbs and spices on the space.
Would you say that COVID-19 has seen a rise in people wanting to grow their own food?
Watu wamekuja kujua that the way we feed determines more on our health. Tumekuwa tukiambiwa tukule greens. And for you to upate ile greens, upate sukuma yenye itakupatia pia hizo vitamins vizuri, lazima pia hiyo sukuma yenyewe ikuwe imekuzwa vizuri without pesticides, the chemicals, and whereby we are growing organically. If you eat a vegetable grown organically and another one growing the other way with chemicals, you're going to feel the difference.
Maybe you can give us the variety of vegetables you can be able to plant on one garden.
Okay, with a garden, you can do a variety of vegetables. You can grow cares like this. This is we call it the curry care. Watu wengine wanaita sukuma matumbo because of the way it's carved. Now this is an non-acidic care. Nowadays, many people might be having acidity. The problem, if you eat, watu hawakuli sukuma wiki because of the acidity. But with this variety, it's a non-acidic care. This is good for those people who don't eat the normal care. And you can do managu. You can do coriander on top. You can intercrop with onions. You can do spinach. You can do terere. You can do all the varieties of vegetables. We also have a bigger garden whereby has a bigger planting space, whereby you can do the root tubers. You can do lettuce, cabbages. You can do carrots, beetroots. So we also customize depending on what you want to grow. And also for strawberries are performing very well on the Wonder Multistory Garden, whereby strawberries, when they come into contact with the soil, they normally start rotting. But with this idea, our fruits hang well on the sides, reducing the contact with the soil. So your fruits are going to be clean, and also no competition, because each and every plant is receiving manure and receiving water uniformly.
How much does it cost? Maybe you can also emphasize that even one, for people with very small space, even one is enough to grow a variety of the vegetables, and how much will it cost them in terms of where will they source the soil?
One garden can give you 6 to 8 kgs per week for the vegetables, and for strawberries, one garden will give you a kg of strawberries. Having a multi-story garden, you require red soil, where one garden requires 14 wheelbarrows of red soil and 2 buckets of goat manure, and now your plants. So the cost is going to be determined if you have red soil. If you are in a red soil area, we normally dig down whatever foot and use the soil in storing the gardens. If you are in a cotton soil area, you have to buy soil. So with that, it's going to at least add another cost on buying the soil. You also have to buy manure, where we prefer goat manure, because goat manure is normally not acidic. The goat manure is not acidic. So the cost of installing this garden is going to be determined if you have soil, manure, and now the seedlings. But now if you have all those, we are going to install one at 2,500, and but at this time we have an offer whereby we are selling a garden at 1,500 without installation. We can give you instructions on how you can install it by yourself.